Yo, what is going on YouTube? I am Germ here. Today we have some very, very big news to talk about coming out of the LEC. This is a story that I have been kind of telling people about and kind of, just kind of hinting at the whole year. I've put out lists of like all the players that were going to be free agents in the LEC and LCS and said, hey, like, are these guys going to get contract extensions? Are these guys talking behind the scenes? Are they about to set to be free agents and leave their teams? I don't know what the heck. But one of these guys was Odoamne. And we had heard in a recent interview that Odoamne and Rogue actually hadn't talked about an extension all year long. So it seemed more and more like he might be leaving. But today, it seems like we have some big news regarding this situation. But first, a word from today's sponsor, which is, of course, Prize Picks. This is daily fantasy made easy, and some of the picks I'm looking at making today are for Worlds semifinals, the big event of the day. I think some interesting picks could potentially be Yagao more than 8.5 kills in the first 3 games against T1, and Faker more than 9 kills in the first 3 maps against JDG. I think this mid lane matchup is going to be very, very epic, very, very legendary. Both these players are very talented. But I also think both teams are going to be capable of winning a game or two of these first 3. So their mid laners might rack up some kills both ways. They might both go over. I think the series is going to be close and fun. But if you guys want to make some picks of your own, check out the first link in the description below. Prize Picks actually going to match your first deposit up to $100 for new users. And yeah, it helps support me, my channel, and my content. So I would appreciate that a ton. Thank you to Prize Picks. Hopefully you guys check them out. With that being said, let's get right into this. This is the big news of the day, or yesterday, I guess, but I'm reporting on it today, or, making a video about it today, whatever you want to call it. Alejandro Gomes, he tweets out, I still need to learn how to say this guy's name. He always does, I say it wrong. I don't know. Sorry to Alejandro. He's a cool dude. Sources, Odoamne will not continue with Koi. Now, again, this is news in and of itself. The fact that Odoamne will not be with Koi. Again, Koi is Rogue. Rogue is going to be Koi. They, had like the merger. They're kind of shared in their ownership for next year or whatever. But this is news. Some people will be like, oh, we already knew he was leaving, blah, 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 blah. No, there's going to be comments like that. No. Just because Odoamne and Rogue had not talked about an extension the whole year, that doesn't mean that he wasn't necessarily coming back. They could still offer him as a free agent in the offseason. We see players test free agency and then return home to their original teams. Maybe not as much in esports, but in traditional sports, it happens all the time. It's absolutely a thing. And especially with the top lane market, not being as interesting or exciting as I think a lot of people would hope, or even relative to other positions. Now, I had talked about, hey, if Rogue and Koi do decide to move on from Odoamne, I expected they would go after one of these import top laners, maybe an import to pair up with Malrong, since Malrong had been so successful with them this year. And there's guys like Keen and Summit and all these interesting players out there. I didn't really expect them to go with a European or even a Western player because there's just not that many great ones. But Alejandro is saying here that he will not continue with Koi for 2023. The player and the club will part their ways. Koi is close to reaching an agreement with top laner Sigenda for LEC. The details of the deal are expected to be finalized soon. We can dive into this article a little bit. According to sources close to Blix, Koi is close to reaching an agreement with Sigenda. When it happens, he'll be the new top laner of Koi in the LEC. Final details of this deal are expected to be finalized in the next few days. Again, Odoamne and Koi are going to be parting ways. Romanian top laner will start looking for a new club as of today. Many clubs are interested in him. That is not shocking. We'll talk about some teams that he might be looking towards for next year. Sigenda is close to reaching an agreement with Koi. Last details of reaching an agreement are still pending. However, clubs cannot start signing players until the beginning of the market mid-November, but still, Blix got told this on Friday. Koi is the club that reached an agreement with Rogue, as previously reported on Blix.gg. Last year, they changed Inspired and their AD carry Hansama and had a lot of buzz in the community. Despite that, Rogue came out on top this year, showing great judgment in the club's decision-making. This would be yet another decision made by the management and coaches that were previously at Rogue. So, again, that's the thing. Even though they are now under the Koi name and the Koi banner, this is still a lot of the same staff that Rogue had. And like he said, they had, the Rogue staff last year that made some crazy, unexpected changes that people were pretty skeptical about. Bringing in Comp and getting rid of Hansama, bringing in Malrong and getting rid of Inspired. And those both worked out pretty decent. Now, was it because they scouted insane players and bought low on 2 really, really talented guys who ended up outperforming? Is it because they just had guys that played really, really well as a team together? Did they just get lucky? Who knows? But I know people are skeptical about those changes, and I know people are going to be skeptical about this one as well. Once again, Sigenda, just like Comp, this is a guy that we've seen in the LEC before, and Sigenda had some up and down moments. I would say overall he was pretty unexciting. I mean, he had times where he wasn't terrible, and he had times where he was pretty damn good, but overall, just like his overall most consistent level was just like not that strong. He was never that exciting, and I do fear for Rogue that, you know, just because they made a couple of these good moves before, it doesn't mean they're just going to be able to make unlimited of these good moves. And if you're constantly, you know, like trying to buy low and scout those lower players, I don't totally get why. Like, why are they never going to go out and try and make like a big splash and exciting signing? Maybe they think because they don't want to overpay or make overrated moves when they can make, you know, under the radar moves, or maybe this is cheaper for them, or maybe they just think Segunda is like really that dude. I'm not exactly sure. Now, I know that Vitality, once they got rid of Segunda and brought in SLT, you know, SLT was much worse. Vitality was never really much better without Segunda, and then Segunda went down to the ERLs and was one of the better top laners in the ERLs for sure. So, I mean, this guy is good. You know, he's probably LEC level, but if you're Rogue, you just won an LEC title, you just made it to the quarterfinals at Worlds, like, you're trying to take that next step up, and for me, does going from Odoamne to Segunda get you anywhere more than you were? I don't know. And again, maybe I'm going to look like a total idiot, just like some people did last year with their opinions on Comp or Malrong or whatever. I know Alejandro's kind of saying the same things here. He said, a lot of people ask me if it's a good change. I'll just say that last year Rogue changed to Hansama and inspired from Malrong and Comp. So, hey, he's just saying you should have faith in this Rogue management, this Koi team, whatever, until they kind of prove us wrong. But again, this does, if this deal goes through, it does make official that Odoamne will be kind of moving on to a new team, which is pretty crazy. I think something that a lot of people didn't expect. And if we kind of run through the teams real quick and see what could be potentially going on for him, I know Mad Lions has been a team that a lot of people have been speculating about, because if you look at that team, yeah, a lot of players underperformed at Worlds. You know, it's kind of El Yoya and the boys at Worlds in a lot of ways. Unforgiven was kind of underwhelming, especially against the better teams. Armlet was not that great. Niski was not that great. Kaiser was not that great, but a lot of fingers did get pointed at Arma and saying, man, if Mad Lions could upgrade Arma, you know, they could be a really, really spicy team. So him going to Mad Lions, I think, does make a lot of sense. But there's also rumors going around and potential changes coming to Mad Lions. You know, maybe they're going to sell El Yoya. Maybe they're going to move on from Niski. Are they going to look at any other different members or rosters or whatever? I don't totally know. Mad Lions kind of a weird org where, you know, they had that success in 2021, shake things up. Now they have some success in 2022. They're going to shake things up again. I don't really know. So it could make sense, but I don't even know who is going to be on Mad Lions next year. So it's a little bit hard to tell. Excel, you know, I think Odoamne is better than Finn, so that could maybe be interesting. But to me, really, I think Vitality kind of becomes the most exciting option. Obviously, we don't know who the Vitality bot lane is going to be just yet, but we know they have Bo. We know they have Perks. We know they have some guys who like to get resources, who like to pop off and like to carry, and throwing an Odoamne as kind of like a weak side player or lesser resource heavy player into a mix like that, I think could be really spicy, fun, and exciting. And we have heard some rumors about Vitality maybe potentially moving on from Alfari for 2023 as well, so it could make some sense. I don't know. Either way, I just thought this was a really, really big news. I know people are going to have all kinds of opinions about it. I think overall people are going to be, you know, a little bit pessimistic about going from Odoamne to Segunda. I'm sure, you know, a lot of people are going to hate the move or think it doesn't make sense or whatever. And I totally get that. I'm not saying, you know, you're invalid for thinking that or whatever, but obviously, when a guy like Odoamne is on the free agent market, that is very, very exciting news, especially coming off the year he had. Yes, it didn't end the best at Worlds, but he had some good moments at Worlds. He had a great LEC season overall. He got a title, and now he's going to be a free agent. And maybe some people will be saying, hey, maybe he'll go to NA or something like that. But from everything we've heard from him so far, he wants to continue to compete in the LEC. But who knows? And again, a lot of teams are going to be interested in him as well. So I do kind of expect him to be back in Europe next year. But that's pretty much it for this video today, guys. Hopefully I catch you in the next one. But until then. Peace.